Welcome to the Seven Crosses series for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic, and we're picking up on the 24th of March 2027, which means we've just come through another winter. And in the last part we were working on putting in the sewage disposal system for my new city here, and also the industry across the top of the map here. And what I want to do in this part is follow on with that theme with respect to adding the freshwater side. Now, I'm not going to put all the pipes in. What I want to do is put in the main infrastructure, the water wells and the pumps, because what I want to do is put in a dual system. But I'll talk a little bit more on that about later on. Before I also go into giving you a bit of an update, I just want to talk about the future going forward, because I'm recording this on a pretty warm day in the middle of August. In fact, it's already over 30 degrees Celsius in my recording room, so this video probably won't be that long. And to get back on topic, the devs are talking about a release into the beta branch sometime in August, and as I say, we're already nearly halfway through. So what I want to do is start getting myself familiar with my economy again, because when that update drops, we will be shifting our focus onto putting in a metro system and trying to make this economy go a little bit faster with respect to the new features. And also what I want to mention is that if the new update includes the realistic mode, what I want to do is put in a second series where we're going to start looking at the implications and the ways of starting in realistic mode, because I think that would be quite interesting. But of course, as any of you who follow the channel, you'll be aware my big issue at the moment is time. Now, I don't want to labour that too much, so what we're going to do now is just giving you a bit of an update. Now, if you look at my population, you can see it's actually dropped to just over 92,000, and I've still got a bit of a problem here with escapees, but you can see I've still got 3,780 odd people. Now, the reason why I'm losing population, I lost nearly 3,000 during the winter. It's partly because I think all these over 21s are aging and leaving. Also, I've still got the perennial electronics problem, and I've got one or two other minor issues, but I think some of them are exactly that, very minor, and they are the consequence of having such a big economy. And probably the best way to explain it is if I show you here. No, I think it's the unemployment. What you'll see is I've got nearly 600 people unemployed, so I've got a kind of 1% unemployment rate, but it's spread fairly evenly across the whole map, so I don't think I can really put in a permanent fix to that. I think it's just gonna have to be a way of living. Now, another reason why the population is dropping a little bit is partly electronics, good old electronics. I think if we come in here, you'll see that I've got good coverage, but there's still areas where the delivery system is still falling down. And another one is, it doesn't really show you here, but I've had a bit of a problem with the meat distribution, but luckily we've got this new meat supply plant coming online. One thing I will say about these mods by Novu, these are the irrigated fields. They work pretty efficiently, but what they don't do is actually work in winters. So when winter comes, these are all shut down. So I think if you're going to run these, unless you're running it into a very small area where you can put the surplus very quickly into the storage silo here, I would suggest that you get an alternative supply beyond relying exclusively on these. But I think these are a very good way to provide a constant top up. It's just that, as you can see here, because they do produce a lot of crops per workday, probably more than enough to produce the crops to feed the population in a small town. Now, the other mistake I made is I put these pork trucks in here, and you can see I've got a bit of a problem with delivering the livestock to the slaughterhouse here. And I think the only way I can really fix this is by, if I come into here, mods. And this is a sample of what I spent a lot of time doing through the winter, is just trying to look for problem locations and sort this out. So what we're going to do is we're going to just pop that in there. At the moment, I'm almost exclusively using my helicopter crews to do all the building. I mean, I didn't really want to bring the construction crews up into this area, and to be honest, the distances are just getting too big now for the vehicle-based construction crews to work. So, as you can see, my helicopter crews aren't exactly overworked at the moment, because they do tend to stay on very much on what needs to be done. So what I've actually done now is, because we have producing meat here, and I've got a little bit of meat here, you can see we've got 74 tons of meat. I've kind of flipped this area around, so the meat for this town is coming from our slaughterhouse here, and of course the meat for our new town will also come from here. But the one problem area I did have was over here in Nuclear City. They actually ran out of meat, which is one which actually gave me a bit of a problem. And you can see here they still got a bit of a meat supply issue. And so what I've done is I've using trucks to bring the meat all the way over to here. I mean, truthfully, what I really need is to try and put some meat storage in here, but the problem's gonna be is the railway. I think what I might be able to do is, I mean, this rail line doesn't seem to be excessively busy, so what I might be able to do is do something like that. Okay, we'll just get number 2 crew on this. What I'll be able to do is get rid of this meat store and bring the meat in by train. I mean, there's a whole list. I could probably do a 2-hour video on all the minor problems in the economy, which I'm kind of aware of, but none of them require radical activity. And I think this is something that you need to be aware about when the economy gets very big, is don't get too paranoid about your losses. You can see that I think the population is now starting to turn around a little bit now. You end up over-engineering things. I think you've got to accept that when you've got a large population, it will fluctuate backwards and forwards. Another thing I've also done up here is I've started setting up this distribution office to start bringing coal up to here, because of course our bauxite plants here will need a supply of coal and chemicals, and I've also started bringing the chemicals into here. And what I'm doing is, because chemicals are similar to electronics, they're a bit in short supply, what I'm doing is ramping this up in percentages. So eventually what I'd like to do is get probably a big stockpile of chemicals in here, which can then be balanced out. And it's the same with the coal. I think just go in and take a quick look. So rather than just telling the whole the distribution office to fill this up, what I'm doing is saying add another 10% or 20%. There, you see the train's just coming out. And what that means is that the distribution office, which has also got to move crops and other stuff around, doesn't get too distracted. So I'm just kind of filling these up over time, and then of course once they're full and ready to go, then things should be a little bit better. The actual water treatment plant I put in here is actually finished. If we go underground, I think we've all got virtually all the pipes done as well. I think, oh wow, just like this hasn't been allocated. Whoops. Oh, it's already finished. Okay, don't worry guys, it's just me. As I say, it's getting quite warm, and one thing I've found over the last couple of days is trying to maintain concentration has been a bit of a pain in the neck, to be honest. Let's get down to what I really want to do in this video, and that is I want to put in a water supply here, because we're going to have to supply dedicated water to this alumina plant. And you can see we're going to need 30 cubic meters into each plant. So what I want to do is set up a kind of water processing plant here. Now, one thing I've found with the livestock farms, these livestock sheds, is because they consume water. What I've done is I've actually hooked these to a supply of fresh water, which is good enough for drinking. Now, the other problem I've also had with these is the fact that because these aren't connected to the sewage system, you can see we've got fresh water coming into here, and this is treated water. You can see it's 99%, but it's not, because these are not connected to the sewage system. Yeah, you need to keep an eye on this to make sure, because if the sewage fills up, the efficiency drops. That's something else you need to pay attention to, and that's what I want to avoid over here. So what we're going to do is treat the water to 99% to make it the drinking water acceptable. So I'm going to ignore the fact that this says that the water quality is 75%, because otherwise it's just going to make the whole setup here a little bit too complicated. Now, the other thing also is that this side we're going to use gravel for purification, so we're going to be using a mod for the purification process. Now, what I would like is I want the wells away from here. We could actually, we could put them over here, couldn't we? And each one of these small wells will produce 70 cubic meters of water. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to put 1, 2, oops, put 3 wells in. Now, I know it's over the top, but the reason I'm going a little bit over the top is the fact that I may want to take some water off of here into this part of the town. The other thing I've also realized is that I needed to put this bridge in. So I've actually connected the road that's coming up here through to here, and we've put a bridge over it, so it's got a little bit of a kink in. So we're going to put 3 wells in there. And then if I come to the mod, water treatment. Now, these gravel mods from Novu, you see they produce 132 cubic meters of water, purified water. And the problem is we may have to put another waste pipe in. Great. Thought about that. And we're producing fresh water, and what I want to do is stay in range, walking range of this. So maybe we're going to put these in just here. I know it's all a little bit over the top, but what I want to do is make sure we've got a guaranteed water supply into there. Oh, this might be a little bit... Oh, no, got away with it. Just check the... Why is that sewage switch? That's there, so why wasn't these... I want to check something, because I've got... Oh, that's the switch. Oh, that's good. That's the switch that runs to there, which I put in, didn't I? Ah, great. That was purely accidental. Now, what I'm considering is that we got to supply here. We got 3 pumps there, and what I want to do is put in. I'm going to put a large power in, say about. I'd like to put in a tower about there, and then we'll just go underground. we're going to hook this up to there to there. Now what we got to do is get 3 pumps. Wow, these guys are right on the case. And I think, where's the... I think if I keep this kind of clustered together here, like that. Now this has got 127. And then a hook in like this into there like that. What that should do is then fill up this water tower here. Now what we're going to need to do is have a pump, a water pump. We need a water pump somewhere in this vicinity, because we're going to have to pump water into here and here, which will provide the water for this area here. I'm just thinking, I think one of these is enough to supply this area, and the rest can go. So I think what we're going to do is I'm just going to put another large pump in. So we'll put a large pump in about here, because we've got to pump the water from there into there. I mean, I could put it into a tower, but then we're going to hook you up to there. Now you're going to have to curve back into there. Now we've got to send water to up to here. Because I don't want to mess about with the... So we're going to put... now this is a relatively small area, so we can use a medium pump. Thank you, game. This is all... Got infrastructure in the way here. We got that one running to there. Wow. I put these in the wrong way round, haven't I? This is 56. How much was the water here again? 29. I don't think we need a large pipe for this supply, so so that supplies all the water to... Oops. Get rid of that. That will supply the water to this side of the complex. And the only other thing we need to do now is actually use this one to supply water to here and here. So again, we're just going to... I really wish there was like a small pump. The small pump, and it's only got one input, one output. I mean, we've got an output there. I think what we could do is put a small pump here. It's only supplying medium pipe. It there to there. And then we shouldn't need fresh water. And put a little substation in just there. That will supply the water to there. I'm going to put a small water pump about there. Yeah, if I put in a small water pump there, this time but no, that pipe's crossing over, isn't it? Sometimes if you do, okay, it's not going to work. Ah, didn't mean to do that. Get review. So we've got to run a water pipe all the way over there. I'm starting to wonder. I mean, this is going to have a workforce of 500. I think it's going to be easy. It's going to cost money to do it, but I feel that it would be worth it in the long run. I think if we make a bit more space, say for there, and then make a large pipe, and we'll put you to there, and that's a small pump. And if we put in water switch beyond that, like that, okay, we'll just you with a large pipe there. Did I decide not to? Oh, we've got a problem anyway with the sewage disposal from here. I thought I'd run a sewage disposal pipe out here, but I didn't, did I? Forgot that. Right, change of plan. Well, we're going to leave that there. What we're going to do is put in over here. We're going to put in a water. Can we flip that? Pipes are on the wrong side. We'd have to do it that way, won't we? Yeah, if we put it in about there, and then put that one into there, and what we'll do is we'll supply the water to the aircraft factory using tankers. So that kind of puts this whole area in. Now, one thing I am going to need to check is the power supply. Power substation. Actually, I think I've lost track here. Now, pumps these are in. I think. Well, what I am going to do is, because we need that. I'm going to put a sewage pickup point here as well. Right, yeah, we can put it there because that will cover that as well. That in as well. We'll just that. Okay, we're going to bring the footpaths round like that. These are just like to connect up the like that. That still leaves space for the metro station. That one, he's been allocated. They haven't. Okay. Miss those. That needs to be allocated as well. That built. Anyway, there's no rush to build this. I think what I'll do is I'll build this, then I'll sort out the power supply afterwards. We got a terminal here. We can get power into there. And what that does is that supplies the fresh water to the industry on this side. Now, where am I? Sorry, got disorientated. Now, well, the fresh water for the city, then this is going to be a fairly big city. And what I've done is actually, we need to set this to limit amounts as well. Set these, because what I'm planning on doing is bringing chemicals into here so that we can start to and what I'm thinking of doing is bringing chemicals into here so that we can have a water treatment plant here, which will then actually supply the fresh water to here. It'll also mean that I've got a potential spur should I need fresh water in that direction. So what we're going to do now is just repeat the process, but we're actually going to do this with big well. You only got 91%. We've got 91% here. I think that's because the proximity of the farms. We've got 94% here. That won't be too bad because the city centre is there. And we've got roads here. Now, the output of a large well is 200 and it's per worker. Then this is something you need to pay attention to. So a big water well has the potential of what's that? 1,400 cubic meters of water. Actually, I didn't notice that. Let me just look at this. See, that's per work day. That is, I am reading this correctly, aren't I? Let me just double check. Yeah, it says maximum daily output. So what we're going to do is just we're going to put one big, again, the pipes are, oh no, the pipes are where we could get. So we're going to put in put a big well in about there. The water quality is 95%, which is pretty good. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 in. Yeah, we're going to build 1, but we're going to leave space for 2. And what I'm going to do is we're going to put a road in like that, a road to nowhere. But that gives us the well, because we're going to need to bring a workforce down, but we're not that far. Because sorry for another divergence. What I'm thinking of doing is, rather than building a large kind of big conurbation in the center, is what I'm thinking is a suburb here and a suburb in these corners with say a bit of a commercial center here. So rather than having a big city spreading out for a central hub, we're just going to create suburbs, because I've got a kind of plan for the metro system, but I've got absolutely no idea whether it's going to work. So we've got this here. We're going to need a large pump, push the water up into a tower. We're going to have definitely going to have a large water tower. So put a large water tower about here. And of course, we're going to need a large, big pumping station. You can put that about there. This is where the pipes won't connect up. Of course, we'll you're going to come through to there. And what that will do is pump all the water up into this big tower. And then we're going to need a... This will give me 300 cubic meters of water. So this is producing quite a lot of water. And what I could do is kind of put this about here. No, maybe over a little bit like that. That gives me space for a second one should I need it. Of course, again, and what the word get now is we'll get the water will flow down from here into there. Because the water will be pumped up into the tower, and the tower will give us the pressure to put the water into the water treatment plant. The chemicals will be around here. I've already put in 2 distribution offices for chemicals and food and everything else there. So we have this area built up here. This seems to be a bit more straightforward than the industrial area. And we got the option here to put in a bus station or something. But my temptation would be is to build the residential area here, which would be close enough to allow people to walk into here. So that we won't have to put buses or anything into this area here. In fact, we could have this as we could build quite a small little compact village here almost. So that could be an option. Oops, do that. Oh, while we're here, just oops, give me an update. My rail construction guys are in a bit of a problem. I think I've getting a few problems getting workers into here, if I remember correctly. We got lots of workers, so what's up with these guys? Boards? We got no boards. Okay. I got. Okay. Look, no, where are you picking up from? See, these are the type of small things that can really catch you out. Okay, right, let's just go to that distribution office there. Open storage. We've got no storage. Yeah, we've got storage for boards. Right, we've got the boards guys going. Oh, I just love this game. I mean, this is what absolutely fascinates me with this game. You think you've got everything completely under control and you know what you're doing, and then you get a small, tiny little mistake like that, which goes completely unnoticed, that kind of knocks the wheels off your wagon straight away. So I've lost probably half a winter by not noticing that. But it's not the end of the world, but it's just fascinating. And I think this is what will probably keep me playing this game for years to come, actually, because there's always something that makes you think and says and kind of catches you out. It's a great game for bringing you back down to earth with a great big bump when you think you've got it all completely cracked. Anyway, guys, I think that's about all I really want to do. I just want to go around, just check the population again. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of marginally growing the population, which I'm quite happy with at the moment. simply because I just don't want excessive numbers of people. Like electronics, we got 53,200. Wow. So, I think this is where I'm going to leave. Oh, we've got here train waiting too long. Wow. Oh yeah, that's because my steel industry, as I jacked it right up hard to get things going. But you can see we got a little bit of steel, but I think that's partly because my construction offices is working so slow at the moment. But I think we are making. Let's have a look at exports. Yeah, I mean we're last month. When we exported nearly 800 tons of steel, and actually this would be a good intro, or actually this would be quite a good thing to talk about with Community Report 56, where they talked about the economy. And you can see at the moment, like exporting some of this stuff, which, and of course with limits, the price will actually drop. So if we kind of go back a bit, I show you the prices. Oops. Well, at the moment the prices are holding quite well, but you can see how much the price of steel's dropped. I mean, we're only getting 48,000 a ton. Nuclear fuel. In fact, you can see I'm exporting so much that my prices are dropped very low actually, and this is something that's going to be quite important. Electronics, so look at that. 1.5 million a ton. This is partly what's damaging my economy and is making it very difficult to import. I mean, I think I am importing some. Whoops. Let me just take a look. You can see I'm importing. Last month I imported 19 tons of electronics and it cost me 29 million. We're actually importing a little bit of power as well, I think, because I've had power fluctuations. Absolutely no idea why I'm importing meat. I am importing the iron. Now, if you see here, I am importing iron. And the reason for that is that we've got that there, which means, because I flipped it because I wasn't getting the production. But what I could do now is I can find the train, all related vehicles. We probably make a bit of money by putting train back on to here. Let's check, make sure I get the right one. And what we'll do, so you can pick up the iron, and we'll just remove the knife edge and unload there. Okay. What that will do is get rid of that cost of the iron imports. Not that it's that much, is it? Well, it's 250,000. It was 2 million last month. And that is actually a profit margin one, because this steel mill here, all it's doing is producing mechanical components here, which are then just simply being exported. So if we got that there, yeah. So last month we exported 155 tons of mechanical components. Because that's the only reason why this steel mill is still running is for the export market. But because I was running low on iron, I flipped it to the knife edge customs. But obviously my economy's turned around a little bit now, so I can get there. Citizens' happiness is too low. What's up with you? Okay, what's upsetting you? Got no drinking water. We got a issue with. Have a quick look. think we got a pressure problem here. I've got a feeling that we're now not producing enough water here. I think I'm going to have to up my water supply to this area. Welcome to this addendum, because after I finished the video, I was looking around for potential problems and I found a pretty serious one with my meat production here in Foodville. And just to show you what's happened is that my meat stores are virtually empty. And you can see they're virtually down to nothing. And the cause for this is actually that I've run completely out of crops. So I'm not producing any livestock. It says here, no resources, crops. I've got a little bit of crops in here. And I think this is one thing you do need to do, especially when your economy gets quite big, is the fact that when you get to the end of an agricultural cycle, because we're on the 30th of June, so in a couple of weeks we will start harvesting crops. But the problem is that I've obviously run out of crops some time ago, because if I come over here, this one silo is empty, and this silo's got crops in it, which is good. This has got a little bit of crops, so obviously there's a weakness in my supply to the meat silo, so that's got crops in it. This is where the crops are coming in. This is completely full, and I've got some crops up here. So I've got crops, but they're obviously not being supplied here fast enough. Just have a quick look at these trucks. Yeah, so these trucks are kind of keeping a trickle going. And to show the extent of the problem, if I come in and we'll just check some of our shopping malls. Yeah, you're out of meat. And probably more importantly, go down to here. I think I've got a shop. This is one of my original shops, isn't it? That's electronics. I think it's the other side that's... it's this side, isn't it? You've still got a little bit of meat. So maybe the problem's not as severe as I thought it would be. In fact, the good acid test would be... Come over to this Stilton. We look at our... This is not good. This is empty. So that is empty. And if we go to Ollerton, where's the... This map's so big now I can't get lost on it, actually, to be honest. We're out of meat here as well. So this is going to have repercussions across the map, because it looks like we've still got a bit of meat in our stores. Yeah, but what we're going to have is a problem with production. So I've got a problem, but I think I've got away with it as long as I deal with it at the moment. Now, obviously, in this video, I'm not going to deal with it because I need to think about a solution. Because the problem is probably more transportation than anything, because we've got these trucks bringing the crops in. And, of course, one of the problems I do have is the fact that when these farms start to harvest, what I want to do is to actually make sure that all these silos fill up along with this silo. So I don't really want crops coming in from the outside filling these silos up unless I have to. What I might need to do is put down a distribution office over here that will bring the crops from here when this silo over here gets down to, say, what's it? Say 10%. 10% is the lowest. So what we're doing... So what I need is we got a distribution office here. So if I put in a fairly big distribution office here to be built, I think the biggest one I've got is 7. So just put a distribution office there. I mean, there's not much I can do with it. Start with this. So we'll just put that there.
build that, we'll get quite a lot of covered holes. I just want to check over here. Wow, where am I? Gone too far over here. I think I'm building covered holes at the moment. Maybe I need a few more. Yeah, we're going to build some more covered holes. I'm going to need a lot more. We'll just build some covered holes here. And of course, the other solution will be to change this and produce more livestock up here. We've got some space in this area. The problem's going to be is the workforce, but we got an area here. So what I could do is actually, so what I could do is put some more meat production in this area with livestock. In fact, what I really need is more livestock production because, well, this is actually filling up. Got an idea, because if we can take the pressure off of Foodville, you've got meat in here. Who delivers the meat to here? I'm just going to go through our clothes and meat distribution. Yeah, where are you picking your meat up from? Well, you're picking the meat up from here. And you're delivering meat to Stilton. But I think what we'll do is we'll take the meat off of here. And if I come up to this office, because we don't have a full complement of trains on here. I don't think these trains are excessively busy. We get a couple of refrigeration trucks here. Wagon, sorry. I wouldn't mind a smaller refrigeration truck if possible. That's 22. That's 24. 2 million. Right, we're going to get a couple of refrigeration trucks here. Now, as far as I know, where's the... This is already on the list. This is... I really should be renaming my settlements. This is the one. Just make sure. Yep. You're going to load meat. And then you're going to... Whoops. You're going to have right, looks like you're already... What are you... Oh, you're picking up food from here, aren't you? Right, you're picking up food there, so but what you're going to do is unload meat there. This has got... I set this to 20%. 20% of 75 is about 15 tons. Actually, make it 30%. What that will mean is that the meat coming up from Foodville won't come to here anymore, and we'll supply the meat from this area here. And what we'll have to do is expand the meat production going forward. I think that will work. Anyway, guys, I don't want to drag this out too much, so this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting, and hope you enjoyed this addendum where how this game can sneak up on you when you think you've got everything sorted. So, and therefore, until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.